What's going on, folks? And we're back from break. And before we went to break, I was speaking with Anna about her holsters and women's prioritizing concealment above all. But I want to ask you, where did the name Dene Adams come from?
Dene Adams was my grandfather, and he was the first to teach me about guns and gun safety. He taught me that a gun is just like any machine, like a lawnmower. If you don't respect it, it can hurt you. But there shouldn't be feared. They should simply be respected. And so for me, an on-body option that was easily concealed but quickly accessible was a responsible and safe thing to do. So naturally, I named the company after him. So.
Awesome. So now I get a lot of questions from people who ask me my advice on concealed carry, especially when it comes to, some friends' girlfriends and just girls that I know. And I've always, the common thought in the industry is to shy away from advocating purse carry and putting a gun in your purse. This is also coming from somebody who does a lot of off-body concealed carry. I'll carry on my person, and then if I'm out somewhere working on some things, I'll have a bag with a gun in it as well. I've never been one to push people away from it because I understood the limitations that a lot of women have when it comes to carrying a firearm. So I always kind of function from the mindset of, it's better than nothing. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on carrying a firearm in a purse for women?
Well, the way that you choose to carry is a really personal thing, and something that you have to weigh out based on your lifestyle. I tried purse carry for myself in the beginning, and I quickly found after one trip to the grocery store with 4 small children that this was not going to work. I mean, they say that you can keep track of 3 things at once if there's, and then beyond that, so keeping track of 4 children and keeping track of my gun it was a nightmare. And so I ended up, locking up my gun. I had no way to carry. And however, it's important to have options. We should always have options. And for some women, a purse is, the way that they're comfortable carrying. And so, more power to them if they're comfortable with that and they've trained with that. One of my hangups on it, however, is that your draw, even with practice, is probably going to be about 6 seconds if you are, if you're ready for it. Also, it's taught in a lot of training classes to simply shoot through your purse, not even bother drawing it. But you not only run into major accuracy problems, but the instant malfunctions that you can have, especially with a semi-automatic, is, your slide goes to the rear for that first shot, and it can get snagged up, and you're kind of be better off just throwing your purse at them. So
yeah, I largely look at purses as highly fashionable, glamorized Pelican cases. Carrying a gun in your purse is pretty much only good for a threat that is about to come, and then you can prepare for it. However, I think for a lot of women, at least the ones that I've encountered, the idea and the thought of carrying a gun on their person, it's not something they can completely kind of glom onto. It's not something that they feel comfortable enough doing. And then their mind just goes straight to the purse. So at least for the women in my life, I tell them, I let them carry with a gun in their purse. And then I kind of subtly start nudging them towards the whole, incrementally start converting them to becoming on-body carriers. Go ahead.
That's one of those things that really comes with firearms education. Mm-hmm. Just like, the person who doesn't know about guns and they think that the gun on the table could just go off. Yeah. So understanding how the gun functions, and you can have a loaded firearm that's not chambered and carry it on your body, and it's not going to go off. And so it's just an education thing, and you can feel fearful. Anything that you have a lack of knowledge in, you're going to feel fearful about. And so that is something that I've come across, but with a little simple education, their minds are changed because it's, on body, you just simply have more control of your firearm, which is important. It's a liability thing as well. So.
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. I remember when I was in law school, there was a woman who was going to court, and she went through the metal detector and she forgot that there was a gun in her purse. Yeah, exactly, right? And so it's really easy to do when you think about it. I think a lot of people misunderstand how, I don't want to say complacent. It's not really complacency. Carrying a gun just becomes normalized. It starts feeling like your phone, your keys, and everything else. And I remember, her going through that, and I was like, ooh, wow, that's not going to end well. But now, I've always made the argument for concealed carry, because a lot of people, not concealed carry, but open carry, for a lot of people, like, why would anybody want to open carry a handgun? And one of my reasons that I like to point out is I feel like open carry makes it easier for women to carry a firearm because it's so much harder to conceal a firearm. Now, this is before I knew about you guys' holsters. So, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, these are extremely comfortable, and you do forget that you're even wearing them. And as far as open carry, I think for, more options, the better. That's great. But in this day and age, we're not only dealing with not being a target of bad guys, but I've seen a lot of crazy people just since my video's gone out. The hatred and the different mindsets from the anti-gun people, and I'd hate to run into some of those people in public and just kind of be attacked by them because they're seeking peace or something by creating this violence. And I don't want to be a target for that. I mean, the bottom line is there's going to be attention that you draw to yourself, and I don't have time to deal with that. I don't have time to deal with people. I am mother to 7 children now, and I run this company, and I don't have time to deal with stupid people. And honestly, I have a faster draw from concealment than with my OWB. I have a 1.5 second draw with 100% hits at 10 feet from my corset, and a 1.6 second draw with my shorts. And so it's just, but I haven't done a lot of training from my head. Gotcha. So that's just how I've trained. And so it really doesn't give me any advantage to open carry. And so for me, I definitely would rather gain those extra moments by me having the advantage rather than an attacker having an advantage.
And really quickly, because we're running out of time here, but I want to go back to something you said earlier that I agree with. Being a woman, there are going to be a lot of people that underestimate you. And it's odd that some people don't understand it, but that being underestimated from that standpoint actually gives you the advantage. And so I think you might lose a little bit of that advantage while open carrying versus when you conceal carry. So there, I absolutely agree with you in that regard. But thank you very much, Anna. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Tell people where they can go to get your holsters.
DeneAdams.com, DeneAdams. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
Thanks.
You have a good one.
You too. Bye.
And that's another wonderful episode of Seeing Live. Please join us again tomorrow. And I'll be here, same as I am every day, Monday through Thursday. You miss my face.